3 summer signings on target. Danny Wilson sending Wednesday on their way at Hillsborough. Ewan Roberts back from injury with a goal for Huddersfield at Rotherham. And Sean McCarthy, 300 miles to Exeter and a goal in 3 minutes for Bradford. No First Division programme this weekend, so we start with the Best Division 2 match, Hull and Oldham, and John Helm.
Richard Jobson returns to Boothbury Park for the first time since his £450,000 move from Hull to Oldham last month, and his new club come here in fine fettle, unbeaten and top of Division 2. Hull soon got over the nightmare of last Saturday's 7-goal thrashing at West Ham by eliminating Wolves from the Rumbelows Cup in midweek, and they're boosted today by the return after injury of newest signing David Hockaday. He's at right back. Barlow. Not a good ball though, and it gives Hull the chance to come straight back with Bamber, and he's got around Barlow, and 2 Hull men are in the penalty area waiting for the cross. One of them is Payton, the side foot, saved by Hallwood. And Andy Payton will be disappointed not to have registered. Good chance this. Bamber showing nice footwork to get around Andy Barlow, and it's a precision cross as well, perfectly into the path of Payton, and the side foot couldn't beat Hallworth. Well, Doyle's worked himself out of that situation nicely and wins the free kick as well. Quickly taken, Swan is up there, and here is Bamber. Great chance for David Bamber. Well, David Bamber might well have got in there. He scored actually against Oldham Athletic last season in Stoke City colours, and I thought he was on for one then. Swan's height always unsettles the opposition, and he gets up well here, gets the flick on. Bamber taking it on the chest, the defender going with him, who was Jobson, and Hallworth just did enough. Well taken by Doyle. He's playing in a new role. Finnegan. And Hull have got 5 men up in front of Finnegan, and Palin desperately trying to join them. Here's Finnegan, and the shot is on target, straight at Hallworth. Well, Tony Finnegan hasn't scored a goal for 3.5 years. His last one was for Crystal Palace against Birmingham back in March 1987, but he's keen. And he opens the way for himself here, and he got a clear sighting on goal. Hallworth's been equal to everything so far, and he was again now. Good header from Holden. Kerry with a little back flick. Ian Hesford, who's been elevated to the captaincy here in the absence of Gareth Roberts. Swan goes through onto it. Peter Swan, it's a good chase by him. Not much strength in the cross, but it is a corner. It's a penalty. It's a penalty. Earl Barrett is judged to have handled Swan's cross. Well, that's a little bit astonishing. Earl Barrett will go across to speak to Brian Hill. The Oldham fans remonstrate. Swan cut the ball back and certainly came off Barrett, but was it a deliberate handball there? Well, the referee says it was. That's all that matters. And Lee Palin, who's taken over the responsibility for spot kicks here from Andy Payton, has the job of beating John Hallworth. This to give Hull City the lead against the league leaders. And it's 1-0 Hull City. Lee Palin, his 3rd of the season, a 2nd penalty success, and it's Hull 1, Oldham 0. Hallworth just dancing around on the line, well beaten. So Lee Palin scores a precious goal for Hull, and that's news that will be well received at Hillsborough as well this afternoon. Earl Barrett, the England under-21 international, very unhappy about it, but Joe Royle has instilled discipline into his side, and they don't protest over long, which is good to see. Doyle read it best of all. And he finds Payton. Oldham have got a blue wall up in front of Payton of 4 men. Payton says has the confidence to go on and crack in his shot. No goal for Andy Payton that time, but it's good to see the confidence oozing from him. 4 Oldham defenders in front of him, and Payton decided there was nobody in a better position, so he thought, well, it was worth a go. Nice flick on. Swan inside the area. He's got to stretch here, and Holworth off the line. Just coming, and Swan might have hurt himself there as he went in. He had to carry on his run. He managed to avoid the goalkeeper, and he's okay, I think. But Hull have looked much more dangerous, really, than Oldham. The three centre-backs employed by Hull City today, Shotton, Doyle and Buckley, have kept a pretty close check on Marshall and Molden. Although Marshall deflects the ball into the path of Holden now. Such a gangling, awkward player, Rick Holden. Here's a good cross towards Molden. Hesford had spotted it. Nice little flick from Bamber to Swan, who is all right. And there's plenty of men from Hull City up there. Palin to Finnegan. He opts for the high ball once more. Swan is under it. Gets, well, perhaps the better of Barrett because he waited behind him. Been an awkward afternoon for Earl Barrett so far. He's given a penalty away. He's talking a good game. It looks as though he might be about to tug Peter Swan's shirt as well there. Swan still gets his header in. Bamber's in there as well. Marvellous save by Holworth. That's as good a reaction save as you will see. And the former Ipswich Town goalkeeper probably kept his side in it here. They could well have been 2 down. From the long throw-in, Peter Swan, who was unsettled them all afternoon with a back header, and Bamber there, and Holworth with a superb reflex save. Well played, sir. So Hull a goal up, in as good a position as they could have wished to be against the league leaders. And Bamber has done a pretty good job up front for Hull today, alongside Peter Swan. They've certainly unsettled the Oldham central defenders. And they start the second half on the attack with Hockaday's throw inside the penalty area. It's going to come down here. Here's Andy Payton. He's going to make it 2. And what a perfect start to the second half for Hull City and their leading goal scorer. Andy Payton's 8th of the season. He was in the perfect position when it came to him. From Hockaday's throw, it was a simple enough header out of defence, it really was. But the ricochet there, as the ball was turned back in, fell kindly for Payton, and he certainly doesn't miss from there. Marvellous start to the second half, and Andy Payton, who's in good goal-scoring form at the moment, got 2 in the last home match against Port Vale, has got a valuable one here against Oldham. Now Holden. Barlow on his outside. Oh, it's not a bad ball, as it turns out. Barlow's cross is good as well, and coming in was Adams. Came in behind Finnegan on his blind side, but he couldn't get it into the whole net. That's what matters. I thought Holden's ball wasn't going to find Barlow, but it did. And Barlow's cross was deep, penetrating, but Adams just couldn't get there to get a clear header on it. And Barlow takes it on. Adams has switched flanks to try his luck here, and he plays a good ball as well over to that far side to Curry, confronted by Finnegan. Curry past him, here's the cross, it's a goal as well, and it's Nick Henry who's got it for Oldham. And so, with just 11 minutes to go, Nick Henry brings Oldham back into it at a psychological good time. The ball was played in by Adams, who'd switched flanks for the first time since he came on as a substitute. And the neat footwork of David Kerry really opens the way here. He takes on Finnegan, one touch, and the ball missed there enabled Henry to come in and slot it past Hesford. And it's Nick Henry's first ever league goal. His only previous one was in the Littlewoods Cup last season against Arsenal. Hull need to keep possession for a while. Payton take the sting out of matters. Hockaday Here's Bamber, alongside him Barrett, won't leave him. Bit of a collision there, one or two bodies down at the moment. Wilcox is hobbling, but Oldham it is coming forward in a blue stream. And they found Henry, edge of the area, back to Redfern, Redfern left foot, he scored! Neil Redfern, it's 2-2 here, and Redfern, with his third goal in 4 games, has got a vital goal for the second division leaders. They were 2 down only 5 minutes ago. Henry, who got the first goal, instrumental in the build-up to the second. It was a pot shot from Redfern. It really could have gone anywhere. It looped over Hesford, and in it went. And the final whistle goes. So although Andy Payton got a goal in the opening seconds of the second half to take Hull 2 goals clear, Oldham's character has been good, and they've come back to get a point here with goals from Nick Henry, and then 5 minutes from time from Neil Redfern. A speculative shot. It was good enough to beat Ian Hesford, and it's given Oldham a valuable point and maintained their unbeaten record in the league this season. Hull City 2, Oldham Athletic 2, a game that was a real credit to the second division.
Were you, the team, that is, just a little mentally tired, do you think, towards the end?
Possibly. I was shattered, I know that. After it was a long game against Wolves in midweek. But like I say, it was a game of, for 75 minutes, I think we were the better side. And then the second goal they scored was unstoppable. It was a great goal.
And there's more where that one came. Plymouth had won 2-0 at Wimbledon to knock the First Division side out of the Rumbelows Cup in midweek, but they found Wednesday in a different class altogether. Phil King's cross from the left turned back in by Trevor Francis, and Danny Wilson launching himself horizontally to put Wednesday 1 up as early as the 3rd minute. Wilson judged by some experts to be the bargain buy of the summer, and certainly started the season well for Wednesday. That's Carlton Palmer, a return pass from Paul Williams, and that's almost exactly where Palmer put a shot last week at Bristol, just off target, just too high to the right. That's a more familiar side to Wilson's game than diving headers, winning the ball from Mark Fiore. Roland Nielsen involved in the move, Wilson again, Nielsen again. Flowing football from Wednesday. Trevor Francis playing his first home league game of the season. The ball left by Williams for John Sheridan. 2-0 to Wednesday just before half-time. And the third goal came on 63 minutes. Worthington sending Carlton Palmer away down the left. He really did cover every blade of grass, as he seems to do every week. And cool finishing indeed. Second goal of the afternoon for John Sheridan. And Palmer this time propping up on the right wing. Support from Nielsen, who's always happy to come forward and support the attack. There he is. And you're about to see a cracking volley from Phil King. And brilliant reactions from Wilmot, keeping the final score at Sheffield Wednesday 3, Plymouth 0. No defeats then in Division 2. Hull joined in the draws column by Barnsley, who kept things tight at Portsmouth for a goalless draw. Let's see the top of the division. Wednesday moving a point above Oldham, having played a game fewer. Both teams still unbeaten, as are West Ham in 3rd place. Barnsley in 8th, only 1 victory short of the top 4. In the bottom half, Hull in 17th place are becoming draw specialists. Only West Ham have drawn more games in Division 2. Bottom place Watford got their first win yesterday at Blackburn.
Rotherham's fans have forgotten what it's like to cheer a victory, and they were soon wincing again when Huddersfield visited Millmore. There were bodies everywhere trying to clear Smith's corner. The one man who did keep his feet, Ife Onyura. His header found the roof of the net. Five minutes later, Rotherham had their one stroke of fortune in the entire afternoon. Watch out for John Buckley, number 7. He tries his luck from outside the area, and the nearest of deflections left him celebrating, and Huddersfield goalkeeper Steve Hardwick stranded and fuming. 1-1 at half-time. Since his introduction to the side a few weeks ago, Ife Onyura has been anything but iffy, and he's a persistent chap. Proof there as he wins the penalty. Kieran O'Regan tucked it away. Well, if Rotherham had complained about that one, they could only blame themselves for Town's third dreadful indecision between Hanlon and Watts, letting in Ewan Roberts, and that really sealed Huddersfield's 4th successive league win.
As for Rotherham, it's now 5 successive defeats. And even when Sean Goater got the best chance of the second half, he couldn't take it. Rotherham 1, Huddersfield 3.
The trip to Exeter meant a first return to the southwest for Bradford's 2 summer buys from Plymouth, Mark Stewart and Sean McCarthy, and they were both involved in the first goal. Mark Leonard's headed down for Stewart. No real challenge from the fullback. Leonard misses the cross, but McCarthy doesn't. 3 minutes gone and Bradford already a goal to the good. An extraordinary incident turned the match around on the half hour. Now watch where Paul Tomlinson is when he handles the ball outside the penalty area. There, still inside the D. Free kick given to Exeter, but it's taken much more quickly than Bradford are ready for it. They're not aware it's been taken. Handball given against Lee Duxbury inside the penalty area, but the kick clearly hadn't been taken from where the referee ought to have ordered it to be taken from. Robbie James, the captain, booked for arguing. It made no difference. The penalty converted by Gordon Hobson, familiar face from his days at Lincoln and Grimsby, and it's 1-1. There was worse to come for Bradford in the second half. Robbie James here caught in possession by Mark Cooper, and Steve Neville, experienced taker of goals, puts Exeter 2-1 in front. Bradford, though, have plenty of character under John Docherty, and they save the match 10 minutes later, Duxbury atoning for the error that caused the penalty, and Mark Stewart with the easiest of finishes. The final score, Exeter 2, Bradford City 2.
Mansfield's 4 points from 2 away games last week gave fresh hope for better things at Field Mill. Chapman looked on for the first goal. Simon Farnsworth didn't allow him the privilege. Preston's winner came early in the match. Joyce and Senior involved in the early build-up. And then Ian Bogey seems to be going round in circles. He's pursued by the whole Mansfield team, but still manages to find a colleague. It's Mick Rathbone, and that goal a collector's item, only his 6th in nearly 400 league games. Mansfield, with only 3 goals in 6 home games, just can't hit the target in front of their own fans. And despite the neatness of the approach, Farnworth again kept them blank in terms of goals and points. Mansfield 0, Preston North End 1. Well, the region did have other winners besides Huddersfield. Grimsby built an early 2-goal lead at Chester and held on to it. Neil Woods again among the scorers, but a pretty even day all round. Grimsby and Southend keep switching places at the top. It's the Mariners' turn to lead the way this week. Huddersfield's resurgence has lifted them to a very creditable 8th position. But too many of our sides are in the bottom half. Bradford the best placed of them, Rotherham the worst, now with only 1 win from 10 games and rooted at the bottom. Mansfield, by the way, at home to Bradford next week.
In Division 4, Doncaster's early season form has apparently deserted them in recent weeks, but it seemed to be coming right at home to Hartlepool. John Muir turning in Noteman's cross. He hadn't scored in the last 4 games and Doncaster had lost all 4. Warm sunny afternoon at Doncaster, 2,800 watching, and they saw Joe Allen, the big blonde striker who could be on his way to Scarborough this week, setting up a goal turned into his own net by Mark Place, marking his league debut for Doncaster in the worst possible way, signed on a short-term contract from Mansfield at the start of the season. Good move here from Doncaster. Gormley timing the pass superbly for the overlapping fullback Rankin. Flying header from Neil Grayson. Good save from Brian Cox, the former Huddersfield goalkeeper. Then the goal that put Doncaster in front. Nicely judged through ball from McKinnon, and Muir's 9th goal of the season, taken with considerable confidence. Does enjoy scoring his goals. Tension, though, on the Doncaster bench. Billy Bremner on the extreme right of your picture there, possibly fearing the worst, and the worst came 7 minutes from time. Allen too strong on the ball for substitute MacDonald, and beating Paul Crichton, who was understandably angry with his defence. Doncaster 2, Hartlepool 2.
York City is still catching up on the rest in terms of games, and they certainly had their chances to beat Cardiff City. Ian Helliwell was the first to be rather unlucky, the header off the inside of the upright. It certainly turned out not to be Ian Helliwell's day. A nice flowing move, climaxed by Helliwell's header off the top of the bar. Eventually, though, there was to be some reward for the big striker. It's his header inside the penalty area, and Ray Warburton finding the bounce of the ball conducive to a hook shot. This left the Cardiff goalkeeper helpless. But York had reckoned without young Nathan Blake, the teenager first popping up with a perfectly placed header. That was in the 76th minute. All of a sudden, the journey from South Wales seemed to be worth it. And then watch out for Blake again, turning the defender and rounding off crisply to keep Cardiff near to the top of the table. York City 1, Cardiff City 2. Again, it was a mixed day for the region, but Halifax got off the mark at Carlisle. First goals as well as a win. Scarborough were victorious at Wrexham and Scunthorpe beat Gillingham, but Chesterfield and Lincoln decisively beaten away from home. Doncaster's early season gallop has been well and truly checked. On the other side of the coin, Scarborough have taken strides forward into the top half. They're now in 10th spot. Scunthorpe are smack in the middle, but it's a bleak picture for the rest. Lincoln, Chesterfield and York in a cluster of clubs hovering above Halifax Town, still in bottom place.
And that's it. Who needs the First Division when the rest provides such drama? Goodbye.